guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is simply going to be about some precautions that parents may want to take when sending their kids back to play volleyball or any sport really. This return to play process is going to be difficult and different for a lot of parents, especially depending on ages and vulnerability. So let's just get right into it. I am going to be looking off to the side because my computer is here and it has all of my information on it. So to make sure that I don't forget anything, I think I have about 4 tips for parents. Excuse my nail cam. I'm missing both of my middle fingers, but nail cam, I don't see it. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see it. My white balance is always so high. But anyways, so let's get started. The first tip that I have for you guys is to ensure the safety precautions that are being put forth in the practice. So I want you to keep in mind that the CDC says exposure occurs when a person is in close contact with another person, okay? And so close contact is defined, and I'm going to read it straight off of here because this is where I got it straight from the CDC website. Being within 6 feet of someone who has COVID for a total of 15 minutes or more. You provide home care to someone who is sick with COVID-19. You've had direct physical contact with the person, hugged or kissed that person, or the person sneezed, coughed, or somehow got their respiratory droplets on you. Respiratory droplets though? Okay, so when you are ensuring that the proper precautions are put in place for your child, you want to ask questions. That is the only way to ensure, and granted, a lot of places can tell you a bunch of different things. My suggestion is that you write down what they've told you, and then you ask your kid after you send them, like, what were they doing in there? I need to know all of the details. So here are some good questions that you should be asking before you send your child to go into any of these places. So how will the coaching staff or the organization keep in contact with me as a parent? For me personally, I use an app to keep in contact with my parents. So in my app, I tell my parents everything that's expected for the week, anything that their kids need to bring, anything that I know. If I know, you know, okay? So you want to just know how they're going to keep in contact with you. This could be email, it could be phone number, whatever the case is. You also want to know how many players are going to attend. So you're looking for low numbers here. I would say no more than 10 to 15 players. 15 is a lot for me. Personally, I think 15 is a lot of kids to be put in a gym because you can't evenly space them out 6 feet apart and still have room to like move and do what you need to do. 10, 11, 12 is probably about as high as I would go. 15 just makes it really awkward inside of the gym, and it's a weird number. The next thing that I would ask about is sanitizing stations inside of the gym. Do they have them, and how many of them are there, and what is included in a sanitizing station? So what I would be looking for them to say is paper towels to dry the sweat, hand sanitizer, and also a trash can for those things to be discarded in. I would also send my kid with their own hand sanitizer, but that's just me. The next thing you want to know about is how will the players be socially distancing, and this is with their bag placement and in drills. So you're looking for them to say that the girls are going to be socially distanced as much as possible. You're looking for them to be very specific about when the girls are conditioning and how far they are apart. When they're doing individual things, you want them to be specifically telling you that they will be 6 feet apart, and you also want to be making sure that they are using their own ball as much as possible. Now, granted, in order to get ample training, it's a team sport, right? So in order to get ample training, your child is going to have to interact with another person at some point in time. You want that to be minimized as much as possible, but it's a team sport. So You want to ask about combined play, so that goes right into the next question. And then how long are they doing combined play for? You want to make sure that this is in short increments or is at the very end of practice. This is especially for high school players and younger players. It's gonna be difficult. Like, your kid is going to be playing volleyball with somebody else's kid. In order for your kid to get any better, your child has more than likely not been playing volleyball for 7 months if you're watching this video. So I'm just telling you that at some point the kids will be playing together in most places. You want to know if the players are going to be required to wear masks or if it is only suggested. If your child is not required to wear a mask, run. Like, don't send your kid in there. In my gym, the kids are required to wear masks for the duration of the practice. The only time they are allowed to take their mask off is when they are drinking water. Water breaks come in 1 minute increments, and they're after every drill is complete. So most of the drills run from 10 to 15 minutes, and the kids get a water break every 10 to 15 minutes, and they can take their mask off. And like, I'm literally counting down a minute. And their bags are all 6 feet apart so that they are not breathing on each other's things. So just something to keep in mind. You want to know if there'll be temperature checks. Granted, temperature is not really a sufficient way to find out if somebody has COVID-19, but you want them to still be doing temperature checks, because if there's a kid in there whose temperature is 100 or more, we want to know that. We want to know that. So then you also want to know if any parents, guardians, or other people are allowed in the facility. This answer should be 100% no. It should only be the paid player and the coaches that are allowed to come in the gym. If their answer is not no, run. And then you want to know how the equipment is being cleaned. You can ask them what type of cleaner they are using, how often they are cleaning. In my gym, we are sanitizing the balls as often as we can, or if I can't sanitize the ball because I'm the only coach in the room, I will put all of the balls that have been used to one side of the gym and they don't get used again. So just find out what exactly they're doing to make sure that the balls and things are cleaned, if the kids are having to touch things one after the other. You can also ask what cleaning solution they are using. They should tell you, and then you can Google that. And if you are willing to provide any cleaning sanitizers or whatever, make sure that that is okay with your facility or your group or whatever you're using for your kid, and you could provide it. And then the last thing you really want to make sure is that they're doing a health screening. So the health screening really helps with contact tracing. You want to hope that someone's parent would be honest. Granted, we've ran into a few who might not be the most honest, but you want to really hope that parents will be honest, so that if their kid has been exposed, is having symptoms, at the least bit they let you know. And that way you can go back and kind of see possibly where the exposure happened, when the exposure happened, who was in the room, all of those types of things. So tip number 2. So those were just some questions that I had for parents, but the next tip is to make sure that you have prepped your child. Okay, tell your child, don't touch nothing, don't get nothing. No, you want to make sure that your child has been prepped. So make sure your child knows that when she goes in there or he goes in there, they keep that mask on their face unless they're drinking water. When in doubt, keep the mask on your face. Tell your child not to touch anyone. I don't know what you know about volleyball players, but my kids like to touch each other. They like to hug each other. They like to smack each other's butts. They have to keep their hands to themselves. Volleyball players touch each other out of habit. They just do, and you have to remind your kid, keep their hands to themselves. You also want to tell them to keep their things away from anyone else's stuff. This is just so that if by chance someone in the room has COVID and they, cough while they have their mask off, your child doesn't get those germs, those respiratory droplets on their bag and things. And you also want to remind them to sanitize their hands whenever they get water. You also want to remind them that when they're in the bathroom, not to take the mask off, and make sure that they remain socially distanced in the bathroom. I do have a video on things for players up here in the cards, so please check that video out as well. You also want to find out what the protocols are for the institution or the facility that you have your child playing volleyball at. There should be several in place. You want to make sure that while they won't tell you who was infected, that they are going to tell you that someone may have been infected if that happens. You're also wanting to look for them to say that they would shut the facility down to make sure that there is a thorough cleaning if they do have an issue of coronavirus in the facility. And the last thing that you're looking for, again, is that communication piece, letting you know, and transparency that someone has it. Those are just the two biggest things, because it should always be your decision as a parent whether or not you continue to bring your child if said thing happens, right? And then the last thing that I want to tell you guys, and I know that everybody does not have the same belief system as me. I know that everybody's faith is different. Their walk, their journey is definitely different. But the last thing that I suggest to everyone is to pray. Don't just pray for yourself and your family, but pray for our country and pray for the people around you, okay? The way that we're going to get through this is through prayer, literally. So that is all that I have for you as parents. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them below. Do not hesitate to ask. I am really quick to answer, so please leave them below. But aside from that, I bid you adieu, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys. If there are any questions or comments that you may have, please leave those things down below. To see more content like this, click the pictures to the right, and please don't forget to click my little picture to subscribe to this channel. I mean, it's free, so why not? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.